friends, welcome to episode 28 of Last Stitch Effort. My name is Pacasha and this is my knitting podcast about using up my stash and trying not to add more to it. Anyway, welcome. I hope you're having a great day. I'm joining you from New Mexico, and right now we have a wildfire very close to our town. In fact, in the exact same spot as another really huge fire several years ago, and it's at 0% containment, so things are really fun around here right now. Anyway, a lot of people working on it, so hopefully the wind stays nice. It's been okay the last, well, for a few hours anyway. Yeah, so we need some rain, so if you can make that happen, I would appreciate that. That'd be great, but no lightning, please. That's how it started in the first place. Anyway, so that's what's been going on with me. What's been going on with you? I guess we'll just get straight to knitting. That is probably the best bet. I'm going to give you my numbers first because I do have my notebook here with me and they're all updated. So after my FO that I'm going to show you this week, I have 46,882 grams of yarn left in my stash, which is the equivalent of 936.4 balls of, like, 50-gram balls of yarn, which I find to be a pretty, I don't know, decent measure of that, because each of these are 50 grams, but things like this are like 100. So, you know, whatever. I'm just doing the best that I can with numbers at this point. So hasn't really changed a whole lot in Ravelry. I have 279 listings in Ravelry, and some of those listings obviously are more than one ball of yarn, but I don't know. Numbers are moving, and that's all that matters. Forward progress. So let's get straight to whips because I'm super excited. This is, let me move some stuff first here. This is my Copperwing by Wool and Pine. And I've been working on, if you know, I've been working on this since essentially the pattern came out pretty much. Maybe not exactly when it came out, but I did buy it the first moment I saw it. But okay, so we're going to start with this massive section, which is a yarn that I overdyed. It started out as Knitpicks Hawthorne Speckled and like some kind of rainbow speckle, and I overdyed it with a tobacco color that breaks, and it's got kind of a faux cable, and it's huge. Sorry if that's blowing out the camera, but what can you do? And then this section is some handspun of mine, and I used every single bit of that handspun, and I used almost 2 full skeins, so 200 grams in that part. And then this last little bit, I had about half a ball left of Mondim, Retrosaria Mondim. Anyway, and it was in this like red color, and I have made a pair of socks for my daughter, so I had a bit left, and that's this last little section. And I had to kind of cut it short and fudge the numbers a little bit to get as much usage out of my yarn as I could, but still follow the pattern. And luckily this pattern is, the chart's super simple to make the changes. You know, if you know how to, you know, you're increasing like 4 stitches every other row or whatever, so you can kind of figure out like where the pattern's going to go. Anyway, I mean, I can get into it another time, but it wasn't too far off the pattern other than leaving out a couple of rows, and then maybe my ends don't match up perfectly to the chart, but whatever, it works. So, and then I didn't have enough of the red to bind off because I literally used every last bit. So I used this first color again to do just a little stretchy bind off there. I think I did, I don't remember which bind off I did, but right after I did this bind off, I learned how to do the Icelandic bind off, which I've never done before. And I think Maybe I'm thinking the Icelandic cast on. You know what? I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. So just let's just move on from that. Anyway, so this thing's massive. As you can see, it's like, it's more than, yeah, it's huge. Let's see. Let's guess. Oh, sorry. I hit the cord. So that's like a yard. It is, yeah, 3 yards across the top. So this is going to be fabulous if it's ever going to have a blizzard here. I mean, it's so big. But I really, really like it. I don't care if it's big. I think it's fabulous. So that's what I spent a lot of time on. I've been working on it, and it just seems to be taking a while, and so I just made a big push the last couple of weeks and I finished it. And honestly, like, the blocking took such a significant amount of time. And it was too big for our bed, even like our queen size bed. And so I had it on a diagonal. And so I pinned it out the best that I could, and I let it dry on the bed for like a day, but it just wasn't drying, which is shocking because it's so dry here. Like, there's like no humidity or whatever. And I was really hesitant to put it out on the line, just because I didn't want it to get like, you know, if it's super wet on the line, wherever you peg it up on the line or pin it up, you kind of get like lumps. And so I let it dry on the bed for as long as I could, and then I pinned it out. And I mean, it did fine. And there are some places where I was holding it with a clothespin, but they have kind of relaxed out of the line, and so it's not so bad. But yeah, so I finished it. I think I used size 6 needles. My favorite needles for shawls, I only have one pair that's my favorite, and I should probably get a second one of it, but it kind of keeps me from casting on a whole bunch of shawls. But anyway, it's a size 6. I think that's 4mm Chow Goo, and it's they have like red coated metal. What's it called? The string in between the 2 needles. Anyway, that's my favorite shawl needle, and that's what I was using for this, and that was kind of a reason for me to finish this, because I wanted that needle so I could start another one, which I haven't yet, but soon I will have another shawl on the needles. So that's my FO. Yay! Only one, but it was a big one, and I mean, that's bigger than some sweaters, so I think I feel very accomplished. And it just fell on the floor. My cats love it, so I have to hide it away, or they will get on it and they will, you know, do their little kneading thing, and there's just too much like handspun, and yeah, I'm not letting them do that if possible. So I forgot to say what I'm wearing. I'm wearing some knit socks, but I'm not gonna do anything. I'm wearing knit socks. You're just gonna take my word for it. I did make this dress. This is dress number 1 by 100 Acts of Sewing, and I won't stand up because I'm not gonna stand up, but it's a little bit too big for me. I'm gonna have to figure out how to. I'm even have to put like. Friend Alicia just did a dress where she did a flat fell seam down the front. I think I'm gonna have to do that to take in some of this extra fabric. But anyway, so I am wearing something I made, just whatever. Okay, let's move on to the next FO. So, as you know, my next, I think, longest on the needles project is a sweater for my husband, Mark. And I am using Knitpicks Wool of the Andes in cranberry. And it's just kind of a nice, it's almost a true red, but I don't know, it's a little bit slightly bit more on the cooler side of red, hence cranberry versus it being called fire engine. It does look pretty accurate on my camera. Anyway, it's one of the colors that if you like, they sold in a special, if you buy 10, which is a whole bag of yarn, you get like a bit of a discount. So, and the pattern I'm using, I don't want to move the whole thing. Sorry. It's from this book, The Knitter's Handy Book of Sweater Patterns by Ann Budd, which you do your gauge swatch and then it tells you how many numbers to do, you know, what you need to do for different things. Like they have different kinds of sleeves, different kinds of necklines, different sizes, kids to adults. It's kind of an amazing book. So, pardon me, I'm sorry. This is a bit of a train wreck, isn't it? Anyway, okay, so this is, it looks like there's a hole, but really it's just, I didn't join my yarn properly, so I just need to fix that. So this is the entire back, and Mark is like 6.5 feet tall, so it's pretty long. Yeah, so, and it's all curled up right now. Obviously hasn't been blocked. Those are my stitches for the neck to pick up later on that little stitch thing. So that's the whole back completed. And I have the 2 front panels. This is going to be a cardigan. I think it's going to be a button cardigan. Button-up cardigan. In fact, I'm positive it will be because I don't think Mark likes the zippery one. And these are the 2 front panels, and I'm just kind of, they're not at the same place. Like, obviously, I'm further on this one, but this is like just straight knitting back and forth until it's long enough, or until I get to the armhole. And so this is kind of car knitting at this point, which is why I started 2 different ones, because I got to a certain point on here, and then I'm like, oh, I should start the next, or I should do the ribbing, and then I have some free knitting for a movie, or riding in a car, or knitting it, you know, in the dark or whatever. So those are the 2 front panels, and hopefully I'll have these completed by next time, but it's pretty good progress. And I think I've decided I'm going to do the sleeves at the same time on one needle, just with, you know, 2 balls of yarn. And these I think are on, I think these are on size 6s too. They could be size 5s. I use size 5 a lot for worsted especially. I'm usually pretty like loose knitter, but I think I've been tightening up over the last few years, which is weird because I spent like a good 10 years loosening and to the point where it was really hard to get gauge for me. I would have to use tiny needles, and that's hard on your hands. So I'm glad that something's working out so I can keep knitting without injuring myself. But yeah, so that's my next project. And as I said, my goal is to finish the front 2 panels very, very soon, so I can get started on those sleeves. And then Mark will have hopefully a cardigan by his birthday. We'll say that. His birthday is August 5th, so that will be, and it's like end of May right now. That's my goal. If I can't do that, I mean, surely I can do that. I can do that. Not a problem. Okay. It's not a birthday present, but that will just be the date that I have in mind so that I don't get distracted by other things. So the next thing that's distracting me, on that note, I started a Traveler's Cowl by Andrea Mowry, and I'm using, if you remember, I spun this yarn just fairly recently. Actually, it's my latest spin, and I don't even have anything on the wheel right now, although Tour de Fleece is coming up, and I do plan on spinning for Tour de Fleece. Anyway, so this is Hello Yarn, Show Me Your Garden, and it's, well, it's about 200 grams of whatever, fiber. Oh my gosh. And it's a Polwarth Tessa Silk blend, so it's quite soft, but oh, it's just lovely. It's just lovely. And this is how far I am on this. I've done the increases, and now I'm just doing, well, I guess it's still technically increases, but I've done the beginning part, and now I'm just on the knit straight. Do this repeat like 100 bajillion times. So I don't know how, I don't know how it's supposed to go together. I'm just trusting the process. Considering how many people have made these, I don't think it's gonna be that bad. But why is my nose so weird and red? Or white and weird, shiny? I don't know. It's not snot, I promise. Oh my god. I may have to re-record just because I said that. That's embarrassing. TMI. Anywho, this is what I've been kind of distracting myself with. I do have to like look at the pattern every single row. I can't like, my brain does not hold in really simple things sometimes, like especially like in the last few years. It's just no, I have to have somebody holding my hand the whole time, unless it's like really simple. But this has got, you know, like that slip stitch edge, and you know, it's just too many things to keep track of for my brain. And I'm always like watching something when I'm knitting. So am I showing you the right side? Yeah, I am. Yeah, so it doesn't really go anywhere. It just kind of stays by in my little knitting section, and I have to completely finish like the section, and then I can put it down and work on something else. Like if I come at it in the middle of a section, I'm just gonna be messed up. And so I'm really hoping that that's what I did the next time I pick this up to knit on it. We'll see. Probably won't use the whole ball, which is kind of a bummer because I really like to use up all my yarn on my projects, especially lately, because it makes those numbers move. And so I'm going to be making a push to use up some little oddballs in the next few weeks. Yeah, but that's what I'm working on there. And yeah, I think I'm using size 5s for that, which this yarn is kind of a sport DK, you know, with handspun, it's kind of all over the place sometimes, unless you're one of those, like, there's a spinner that I follow on Instagram, and I've followed for years on Ravelry before Handmade. Her name is Mickey. I think that's her name, and her Instagram handle is Thing for String, and I'll like put that below. She is an amazing spinner. Anyway, she has like the most perfect even yarn you could possibly imagine. So it would be nice if I could spin like her someday. But anyway, I'm keeping it in a Fat Squirrel Fibers bag. I think this bag is so cute. These little chickens and like preserves and pickles, and yeah, I thought it looked pretty good with the colors, because I'm matchy like that sometimes. Anyway, that's that project. Just set that up. My cardigan I'm just keeping in this little bucket thing that I got at Target. I know it doesn't really matter, like, but I like to see what people keep their things in, and I like little details like that sometimes. I know like needle size doesn't really matter because everybody's gauge is a little bit different, but like primarily I use 4s, 5s, and 6s, unless I'm doing socks, and with socks I use size 0s. And lately, because I do have some socks, 2 pairs of socks, 2 pair socks. Oh, I forgot my blocker. Oh well. I have been branching out with my sock yarn or sock needles lately. I do love, my favorite needles are Knitpicks DPNs, the wooden ones, 2.0 millimeter, size 0. And I use them all the time. But I have a lot of really nice sock needles, and I kind of wanted to, I don't know, like make sure everybody's getting to play. Everybody gets a turn. And I have them in, okay, I got this little thing from Thread and Maple. And it holds all of my sock needles, or my size 0 sock needles. So like these are Licka, those are more Knitpicks. I think those are the pink Lickas. Zings. These are just, I think they're just, they might just be the nickel plated Knitpicks double points. And then I am using this pair right now, which is my Hiya Sharps, which might actually be my favorites. More so than just the wooden Knitpicks ones. Anyway, so with those, I am making this pair of socks, which I showed last time. And I finished the first sock. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it this time because I did a little research. So there's the first sock, and it will be either for me or for my daughter because we wear the same size. This yarn is Lana Grossa Meilenweit. It's just like a neon red, and I'm pretty sure that they don't make this anymore because it's pretty old. It's like a tomatoey, like super bright red. And I just cast on, usually I cast on 60 stitches, but I was in the car and now I had started several different patterns, and most of those are 64 stitches. Just that's what a lot of designers do, right? So I'd already had the ribbing, and several patterns just didn't work, but I kept the ribbing. And eventually I came across a pattern that I'm using. And I'll talk about that in a second. I just want to show you quickly so I can set it down. This is where I am with the second one. So I'm on that heel flap about halfway through. Anyway, so this is the stitch pattern I'm doing. And it is St. Mary Mead by this Handmade Life, who is Olivia. She does project bags and some really, really beautiful sock patterns. And the reason I didn't say that last time was because if I come across kind of an easy like stitch pattern or whatever, sometimes I just like, let me see if I can show you without like getting in trouble. Sometimes I'll just quickly like make little charts in a tiny little notebook like this, and then I keep it in my Notions thing. It's just like a field notes, and then I just make little charts, so that way if I start something and I'm far away from the internet, because you know what, I live in New Mexico and there are vast sections of this state that have absolutely no internet access whatsoever, and to get to anywhere we have to drive through those for hours. So sometimes I just don't have access to my pattern library, and I don't want to lug a book around. So I've got like probably about 50 different super easy patterns that I can just, I seriously just like jot down like in pen, like very basic charts. And so I can just throw them in like however. So I didn't have it written down, and I just had the name of that. And usually I write down the name and blah, 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 but I didn't have it. But I figured it out. So it's St. Mary Mead. I already said that. And I will not put a link below, but I'll write it out below so that you can either go to Ravelry or you can find her on her website or through Instagram or whatever. And it is a pay for pattern. I think I got it for free though, or on sale anyway, but she makes fantastic sock patterns. The original pattern is a toe-up sock, and I did not know that. Oh, I did know that. That was actually written down that it was toe up, but I just did it cuff down. I just followed the chart, but cuff down. So the real sock is like the arrows are the other direction. But I don't know. I think it looks pretty good. Anyway, so I did it for 7 repeats, and then I did like just a plain stockinette section because that's about where my boots will hit if they're for me. And I wanted it to be plain and not patterned right there. So that's where I'm with that. And I have one more sock on the needles. These are for my daughter. This is some Cloudborne yarn that I got when Craftsy was clearing it out. And it's just a charcoal gray. And these are just very, very simple gray socks, no pattern on them at all. And they are using, what are these called? Carbons. I don't like these needles. I don't like that where it goes, yeah, that join. I feel it every time. I don't like it at all. Not my favorite needles. I will probably get rid of these needles after this project. I think I've just decided that I'm done with that. So anyway, that's all I have. And I've got a lot of stuff to do in a bit, so I'm going to go ahead and let you go. And I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you had a fantastic Memorial Day if you celebrate, or, you know, whatever you need to do for Memorial Day. Anyway, I could really use your, I don't know, thoughts and prayers. I mean, for what they're worth for this fire, it's pretty bad. And my mom lost her house in a fire a few years ago, and it's kind of scary. So anyway, a lot of people in, you know, the midst of things are really needing some help right now. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm asking for, but yeah. Anyway, I'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Hopefully I'll have something interesting to say. If not, then maybe it'll be 3 weeks. Or maybe it'll just be like every other episode where I just talk about crazy stuff and it makes no sense. So anyway, love you guys. Take care. Hope you are well. And leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you're having for dinner tonight, because that's one of my favorite things to find out. And I've gotten good suggestions so far. So anyway, take care. Bye.